What's up everybody, Camero here, and welcome to part 82 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at emote animations. First, we're going to briefly look at how to show animations above our events, and then after that, we're going to change some of the default animations that are already in Pokemon Essentials, and then after that, we're going to be adding a new animation with new graphics and new sound effects. And then after that, we're going to play that new animation in-game. With all that said, let's get into it. So, the basic way to show animations is just with an event command. You're probably already familiar with this, but just in case you're not, as a brief refresher, what you can do is right-click Insert inside of any event, and then you want to do Show Animation. It's on the second event command page here, but just do Show Animation. And then what you can do is you can select which character the event or the animation appears above. So what we can do is we can just select this event, and for the animation, we could select something like Exclaim Bubble. You'll notice that there aren't too many animations we can select from, there's only 7, but we'll fix that in due time. We'll be adding our own custom animations in a little bit, but first let's just make it so that way when we interact with this Psyduck, it'll say sigh, and then it'll do an exclaim bubble. In fact, you know what might actually be better? Let's do the animation at the start, and then let's have them wait like, I don't know, 14 frames, and then it'll cry. So it's almost like it notices us, it goes, huh, and then it'll say sigh. Cool. Now, let's see how this looks in-game. This will be our basic exclaim animation. Hello, Psyduck. Oh, look at that. It had the exclamation mark above its head, it made a little sound effect, and then it turned and did its business. Anyway, so, I'm not the biggest fan of that default exclaim event. In fact, I'm going to run the game once again, and I'm going to show you that this default exclaim event appears every single time you cross paths with a trainer. Look at that. I'm not the biggest fan of that animation. So, what if we wanted to change that animation? What we could do is we could just go into our scripts here and do Control-Shift-F and type in exclaim and look for PB exclaim here. And this is the PB Notice Player event. What we could do is theoretically we could make it so that way instead this plays a different event. So we could do like (4) here. The number corresponds to the event that we'll play, or the animation that it will play. So what we could do is we could go to Database, Animations, and we can see that number 3 is our exclaim bubble. Number 4 is a question bubble. If we make this change in our scripts, now every time we cross paths with another trainer, it'll display a question mark instead. So theoretically what we could do is make our own new animation and then make it so that way whenever we cross paths with a trainer, it plays that animation instead. But just to show it off, let's take a look. Look at that, it now shows a question mark above the trainer's head. Pretty neat, right? Let's get rid of this for now. And now let's go look at the window that I briefly showed earlier. This is going to be where we will be spending most of our time in this tutorial. So, what I would recommend that you do is get familiar with the animations window. It looks very scary at first, but let me tell you, it's actually not that bad, especially because we're going to be making some very short animations that are only going to be like 9, 14-ish frames. You'll notice here that the exclaim bubble animation only has 9 frames. So that's actually going to be pretty easy for us to make our own custom animations. Now, the first thing that we need to do before we go any further is we need to get some animation graphics. Thankfully, I will link these in the description. Here they are. These are emote graphics ripped from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and they're available on the Spiders resource. And I've actually already downloaded these and formatted them to work well with the animations in our game. So I will be linking them in the description as well. But this is where I got these from the Spiders resource. I'll be linking this in the description as well. I definitely recommend this as a resource for sprites. But anyway, let's go in and take a look at some of these graphics that I'm talking about. You might be saying, what emote graphics did you rip? Well, check this out. This is our basic starting one, and I've already added some here from Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green for the exclaim bubble, and I think that looks a lot better already than this one that's all squishy. I kind of prefer it to just kind of like start off halfway and then expand. But what I've also done is I've made a new animation spreadsheet for these emotes as well, like happy, smiling. You got a heart for love, you got the question mark bubble, and then I've even got some over here too, like poison, angry face, you know, in ellipses, the ... another angry face, and a sad face. So let's take these and put them into our game. And you'll notice here that I have some sound effects. We're going to get to those in a little bit as well. But let's just go and copy these animation sprite sheets. And let's go into our game's graphics, animations folder. And let's just paste them in. There already is one that exists. It's the 029 Emotion 01. And that's the one that I just slightly edited to have the exclamation marks here in the bottom right. So now that we have the graphics in that we will want to use for our animations, we should also get some sound effects in. What I've done is I've just got some basic exclaim sound effects. This one here, I believe, is from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Let's take a listen. It's kind of sharp and high-pitched. Let's listen to this other one. I think that might be the one that we're already using, but for the sake of our game, let's just take them both and copy them and put them in our game. I will be linking these in the description to download as well. All of this will be able to download in like a pack. I think I'll put it up on Google Drive. Anyway, we've got our two exclaim sound effects here. What we want to do is we want to go into our game's audio, SE folder, and what we can do is just paste them on in. Sometimes Windows likes to be dumb and just run down the list, but there we go. What we can do is paste these in. And I think I actually already had exclaim.wave, so here we go. We have exclaim2.ogg as well. So let's start setting up our animation. We have the sprites and we have the sound effects. So now all we gotta do is put in the work in our animations editor. Once again, this can be accessed here from this database button up on the top of RPG XP. I'm very familiar with the tile sets tab, and I'm decently familiar with the animations tab. You definitely don't need to worry about going to these other ones, although common events is pretty useful as well. But yeah, you don't need to worry about like states and troops and stuff, just as another forewarning. But anyway, first off, what I would like to do is I'm gonna make a couple more animation slots here. What you can do is you can change the maximum number from 10. Let's make it 20. There we go. So now we can have 20 possible different animations. Now let's make a new one for our new animation. Let's call this FRLG exclaim. And then let's choose our animation graphic. Remember, this is one that we added here. 029 Emotion 01 has been edited to include these exclaim bubbles from Fire Red and Leaf Green. We could even mess with the hue if we wanted to. That could be kind of cool, but for now I'll just keep it at the standard hue. There we go. So now what we have is a little tile set here basically with all of the proper spacing where we can select the different graphics and include them in our animations. So let's make it so on frame 1 we use this right here. And what we can do is just click anywhere and paste it in. And let's try to put it kind of like slightly above the center. Like if here's the center, let's make it so the bubble's like right there. Cool. Now, let's make it so that way we have a sound effect on the first frame. We can right click here and do edit. And on the first frame, the sound effect that we can play is, let's make it exclaim 2. Let's do play again. That's kind of sharp. We could lower the pitch a little if we wanted. I don't think that sounds right. Let's just keep it like that. Cool. What we could do is mess around with these other things. I'm not really gonna do that like a screen flash or conditions or anything. Let's just make it so that way on frame 1, exclaim 2 plays. So far that's pretty basic. Now what we can do is hit play hit and see how our animation looks. It's pretty terrible because it's just one frame. So let's fix that. Now, let's add a couple more frames to our animation. We can do that by clicking up here. Let's make it so that way this animation has, let's say, I don't know, 12 frames. And then let's go to frame 2. So what we could theoretically do is we could just click and do that whole process again. But what I like to do is I like to just go and hit paste last. What paste last does is it takes frame 1 and it pastes it into frame 2. And then we can go to frame 3 and do paste last again. What we could do is go to frame 4 and then, you know, start adding this other animation here. Paste last, paste last. And one thing that might make it look better even is if on frame, like, let's make it so on frame 1 it starts a little bit higher. And on frame 2 it's a little bit higher, and on frame 3 it dips, and on frame 4 paste last. So a lot of this is just kind of getting familiar with the animation editor. I'm kind of just talking to myself out loud now as I do this, but on frame 1 and 2 it starts off a little bit higher, then on frame 3 it drops down, and on 4 it stays down, and then on 5 it expands, and then 6, 7, paste last, paste last, paste last, paste last, just a lot of paste last. There we go. Now, let's hit apply and hit play hit and take a look at how our animation looks now. It looks okay. It's a little bit awkward how it like snaps out, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that this one's not bad. I think we can work with this. Now, let's just go ahead real quick and check the properties of this. The blending mode is set to add. I knew something was gonna looking a little bit awkward with that. There we go. Now that looks a lot better. I'm gonna go ahead real quick and then right click this and change the blending mode for all of this, and I'll be right back. All right, I set the blending mode for all of these frames to be normal. You'll notice that I was able to right click and do properties. From here, you can change the pattern, which is actually the image selected from the tile set here. You can change the X values, the Y values, the zoom, the angle, the flip. You can change the opacity, and then you can change the blending mode. I would definitely recommend using the blending mode normal for this. Now, let's take a look at how our animation looks. There we go. It's not bad. It's not great, but it is a new animation. So what we could theoretically do is save our game and go into our script editor and make it so that way this animation plays above the trainer when we talk to him. Let's also go in real quick and change this event so that way instead of picking animation 3, it picks animation 8. This is a new animation that we made that will display above our Psyduck. And let's go into our scripts real quick, and let's change this to (8). So now, anytime a trainer sees us, it will play the new animation that we made. That's kind of cool. Let's see it in game. So hey, here's Psyduck. That's pretty high up. Let's talk to this guy. There we go. That looks actually pretty decent above him. But yeah, I don't have any Pokemon on my team, so it skips the battle. But yeah, above our Psyduck, that looks really high. So let's go in really quick and edit the height of our animation. All right, I've gone and I've edited the height of all of these frames, and I think it's gonna look a lot better now. So one thing we could also do real quick is while it's displaying above Psyduck, let's also make it so that way this displays above our player. And instead of this event for our character for this, we could just select player. And then we could have them say something along the lines of, whoa. Not Woj. Whoa! It's a Psyduck. There we go. Now, let's take a look at how this looks in-game with the event lowered a little bit. Or with the animation lowered a little bit. I don't know why I keep saying event. It's like a very common word. There we go. Look at that. It's a Psyduck. I think that looks pretty decent. Now, let's make another animation. And this time, let's use an animation to display an emotion above the Psyduck. After all, the name of this tutorial is Emote Animations. Let's make another animation real quick, shall we? Let's make a new one here for animation 9, and we can just call this one Happy. Let's make it so that way the Psyduck likes us. It's a happy Psyduck. Let's do our animation graphics now, and let's select one of the other ones that I made. How about this? This seems pretty good. This little happy face here. Yeah, I like that. So let's make it so that way on frame 1, real quick, it plays our sound effect again, exclaim 2. And let's make it so that way this one lasts a little bit longer. Let's make this one 16 frames. And then on the first frame, let's make it use this closed mouth one here. And by default, it's using add. Let's change that to normal again real quick. Cool. So it'll appear like around here. And then on frame 2, let's make it so that way it drops a little bit. And on frame 3, let's make it drop a little bit further. And on frame 4, drop a little bit further even still. So it looks like it's moving down slightly. Then on frame 5, let's keep it still. And on frame 6, let's keep it still. And then do paste last again. On frame 7, let's change the pattern. Let's make it so that way instead it's using the open mouth happy one. And then let's make that last for like 4 frames. So, actually let's make it last for just 3 frames. I think that would look better. So what we've done here is open mouth, and then 8, 9, and then on frame 10, we can do paste last again, and then change the pattern back. And then on frame 11, paste last, frame 12, paste last, and then frame 13, paste last, but change the pattern once again. And then go and paste last. And you know what? How about we just make it a 15 frame one? We don't really need this final frame. It'll probably still look just fine if I hit play, so let's take a look at how it looks. Yeah, it kind of drops down, and then it goes, yeah, it opens the mouth a little. It goes like, yeah, yeah. I think that looks pretty decent. We could even make this last longer if we wanted to. Instead of 16 frames, we could make this one like 21 frames. And so make it so the mouth like opens and closes more so it's more happy. I think that could look pretty good. So it's happy there. And then we can do paste last once again. Change the pattern. Paste last. Paste last. You're just going to be doing paste last a lot. But we've just about got it. It's just about there. Now, let's take a look how this looks. It drops down and then it's like, yeah, yeah. Look at that. That's pretty cool. And it's only 21 frames. So this is our new animation called Happy. Let's make it so that way the Psyduck likes us. Let's do this. Instead of doing FRLG exclaim, let's display our animation Happy now. And since the animation is 21 frames long, let's wait, I don't know, let's wait like 24 frames. There we go. Now let's go into our game and let's talk to the Psyduck and let's see the emotions. What's up, Psyduck? How's it going? Yeah! That looks pretty good. Whoa, it's a Psyduck. Yeah. Heck yeah. So theoretically, you could do this with a bunch of other animations. Like, we could just do another one real quick. Why not? Let's keep the tutorial going. Let's make the Psyduck friggin' hate us. Let's go angry, but in all caps. And let's make it with an E. Angry. There we go. We got an angry Psyduck here. There we go. This one looks good. He's like, meh, meh. We could do this one also. That's just kind of frowning, like, I don't know why I'm assigning sound effects to each and every one of these, but hey. Let's do the same thing as our last one. In fact, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Let's make it again from scratch. Let's do that same sound effect that we used before, which was exclaim 2. And then let's select what we want to do for our first frame. Let's do this one right here. This guy's mad. This guy's upset. And our blending mode will be normal. And then what we can do is, once again, do our paste last strategy. And then I'm just going to hit down on the arrow keys there. Paste last, down, paste last, down, and then paste last 1, paste last 2, paste last 3. So it looks like it's standing still for 3 frames here. So on frame 7, let's make it change its face. So that way it's an angry one with an open mouth now. 1, 2, 3. There we go. You just do a lot of counting when you're making these animations. But yeah, you'll eventually just get the hang of it. It's not that hard to just make simple like frame by frame animations here. So frame 10, mouth is closed again. 11, 12, so then 13 should be another mouth open. So on and so forth until the animation looks good. You kind of just do this a lot when you're making attack animations as well. I made a tutorial in the past about making attack animations, and good gosh, making some good animations frame by frame is crazy. There's some stuff out there that is so like crazy good looking, but like, God, to have to go through and hand animate each individual frame. Like, thankfully there's tweening and stuff that you can use to like go smoothly between one frame and another frame or multiple frames from like different coordinates and stuff, but god dang, animations are tough. Thankfully, emote animations, now that we've made a few, shouldn't be too hard for you. Hopefully this all makes sense and it's pretty clear, pretty easy. Let's do play hit now. Meh, look at that. The mouth drops down and then it goes like meh, meh, meh. Let's make it so now the Psyduck hates us. Whoa, it's a Psyduck. Now, let's do a show animation. That's actually set move root. I'm selecting the wrong thing there. Let's do angry. And then let's insert another wait here of 24 frames. And let's do show text and have it say, the Psyduck is angry. Run away. There we go. And then just for fun, let's do a set move route afterwards for our player to take 1 step back. So the player will take 1 step backward. There we go. So our player will run away from this angry Psyduck. It's gonna be great. Let's interact with it now and see how it looks with all of our new emote animations that we made. Oh, it's so happy. Oh, it's a Psyduck. Ah, oh, the Psyduck is angry, run away. That's fantastic. Cool. Now, theoretically, if we wanted to, we could also make it so that way our trainers are angry when they see us. Let's take a look at how this looks now. We made it so that way our angry one is, I believe, animation 10. So if we cross his path, bah, it does kind of appear directly over him, which kind of looks a little crappy. What I would potentially recommend you do is make 2 separate animations. One that appears above the trainers, that's a little bit higher up, and then one that you can use for other events. But yeah, I think that about does it for this episode. We made a couple animations. We plugged in some graphics. We edited our scripts a little bit, and I'm going to set this back to the other one. But yeah, hopefully this helps you with your game project. I think it's very cool to be able to show these different animations above the different events. I used this a lot in Pokemon Splice, and all of the resources that I used in Pokemon Splice, I will provide to you. They will be available to download in the description. These are, once again, different emote animation sprites that have been ripped from Heart Gold, Soul Silver that I then took and formatted for Pokemon Essentials. And yeah, I think that about does it for this tutorial. I appreciate you for watching once again. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of another long tutorial video. Be sure to follow on the old Twitch-a-rooney that I gotta stream on more. Hey. But yeah, hopefully this helps you with your game, and hopefully you can think of some really cool uses for your own custom animations. Go crazy, make some custom emote animations and show some animations on players, and even modify the existing animations. One thing that I did that's pretty cool is I took the default grass rustle that when you walk through grass, and I added a little sound effect that's like shh, shh, shh. So like every time you walk through the grass, it adds a sound. I think that's really nice. I'd recommend you do that for your game as well. But yeah, that does it for me. I really need to get better at wrapping up these tutorial videos. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And until next time, you guys, I hope that you all have a good one.